Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
You know, we really need a change of subject because I'm finding myself just talking about Wilder Fury Wilder, and that's pretty much all I've been doing for like the last couple of days because that is all that's been in the news. Nothing else has been in the news, and it's been driving me a little bit crazy. And there are still some more stories out there that I know you guys are going to want me to cover. For example, Deontay Wilder turning down 15 million to fight Dominic Breazeale on DAZN. Unbelievable. Anyway, so I need to change the subject for my own sanity, and I'm going to move it on to my favourite heavyweight, Dillian Whyte. And with Dillian Whyte, a lot of you guys know, when I first started this channel 2 years ago now, he was the one who came to me and gave me like a bit of a bunk up, if you like, because when I started doing this, I knew literally nobody even associated with boxing, okay? And Dillian helped me out, okay? So he gave me a bit of a boost, and he's been on the channel several times, and he's always going to have my back, and of course he is. And I need to do a video on him because I feel that I haven't been covering him lately because so many things are going on behind the scenes and so many different scenarios. You know, he could be fighting this one, could be fighting that one, and etc, etc. So we don't quite know what's going on. So he hasn't been front page. He's been behind the scenes working on trying to get a next fight. And with the WBC ordering him to fight Dominic Breazeale, that's the fight that I've been calling for the best part of a year, and I know that a lot of you guys have as well, because it sorts out the WBC situation. And before I get into like the main subject of this video, which is Luis Ortiz, this fight with Dominic Breazeale, as I said, is a fight that I've been wanting for a long time, and I do feel that this fight could have already happened beforehand. And for me, if I'm ever going to have a dig at Eddie Hearn, it's going to be over this. You guys would have seen my interview with Eddie Hearn where I said to him about Dominic Breazeale, purely because, not from a neutral perspective, because from a neutral perspective, Dillian Whyte versus Dominic Breazeale, not a big fight. Not one that makes you go, ooh, can't wait for that one. For me personally it is, but I know for the broad perspective it isn't. Most people would look at, say, Luis Ortiz, look at maybe a Povetkin or a Parker rematch. Do you know, it's like those kind of ones. But ultimately, Dominic Breazeale is the most important one because it secures the WBC mandatory, because they did drop the ball with this one. And rather than Eddie Hearn make a huge effort trying to get Dominic Breazeale over the line, he was making more of an effort getting a Derek Chisora rematch, which from a financial point of view, I fully get it. Dillian Whyte should, first and foremost, line his own pockets, secure his family, okay? And listen, he'd have got paid a hell of a lot more to fight Derek Chisora again than what he would have done for Dominic Breazeale. I fully get it, but of course Eddie Hearn, he's going to get paid a lot of money for this also, okay? And he knew this. But had he have taken the Dominic Breazeale fight first, he would be in an ideal situation right now to be fighting Wilder next, which is a fight that he's always wanted. He's been chasing that fight for the best part of 2 or 3 years now, going the WBC route, WBC silver champion. He's been defending that title. He wants Wilder, and Wilder will not, for love nor money, even $8 million, will he fight Dillian Whyte. He wants no smoke with Dillian Whyte, okay? And that's pretty obvious. Even his own hardcore fan base know Wilder don't want Dillian Whyte, okay? So had Eddie Hearn made more of an effort with Dominic Breazeale, we'd be in a situation with Deontay Wilder fighting or being ordered by the WBC to fulfill his mandatory, which would be Dillian Whyte, okay? But we're not in that situation, okay? So hopefully something's going to be sorted out. Who knows? Maybe Wilder is actually going to grow some now and give Dillian Whyte a voluntary, if he's allowed a voluntary. If not, it's going to be Dominic Breazeale. So this is going to leave Dillian Whyte without an opponent. Now, there's been like a lot of talk about Luis Ortiz. People say that Dillian Whyte has avoided Luis Ortiz. Anthony Josh has avoided Luis Ortiz. Loads of people have avoided Luis Ortiz. Listen, nobody avoided Luis Ortiz. Nobody has. Nobody ever did. Okay? Just that Luis Ortiz is happy to be an undercard fighter. Dillian Whyte is a headline fighter and he's pay-per-view. But anyway, so I'm going to put a link in the description box for you all to go check out the latest video on Dillian Whyte's YouTube channel. Okay, so I encourage you all to go over there, give this video a watch, subscribe to his channel, go over there, tell him that, I sent you, say hello to him and all that. And within this video, he's talking about Luis Ortiz. And he's now said what I've been saying for a good couple of years now, for 2 years, pretty much since I started this, that he has always wanted Luis Ortiz. And even when Luis Ortiz was with Matchroom, Dillian Whyte was like, hey, pick me, I'll fight you. But he went the Malik Scott route. Why? Because Eddie Hearn wanted to have a decent enough name on the Monte Carlo card, right? Then he went, because he didn't perform very well, and went the distance with Malik Scott, which was shocking, considering that Derek Chisora knocked him out. Deontay Wilder knocked him out when he got hit on the gloves. Okay? But yeah, he managed to go the distance with him. Then he fought Dave Allen. Dave Allen had only had, a dozen fights, if that, at that point. 0 amateur career, and almost went the distance with him. He was 1 second away from getting to the final round. For me, the referee shouldn't have stopped it. I know Dave Allen was in a pretty bad way. He bit his own tongue in half. Okay, but 1 more second, he went to the final round. But regardless, Dillian Whyte was asking for that fight, and in this video, you'll hear him saying about it. So fast forward up, okay? So as I said, one of the main criticisms that I have of Eddie Hearn is that up until 2018, really, or even halfway through, pretty much since Joseph Parker, he's been getting it right with Dillian in the sense of pay-per-view, headline, that kind of thing, okay? But before then, Dillian Whyte was getting opponents on short notice. Remember, the very first fight with Derek Chisora was short notice. Remember that one. Robert Helenius, 2, maybe 3 weeks beforehand. And around this time when he's about to fight Robert Helenius, before that they could get Robert Helenius over the line, they were trying to get Dominic Breazeale. And they were trying to get King Kong Luis Ortiz. Nobody wanted to fight him. So he ended up fighting Robert Helenius. Then, of course, he went and fought Lucas Brown, headline fight. Then he fought Joseph Parker, then Derek Chisora rematch. And right before the Derek Chisora rematch, Derek Chisora was playing hardball. Why? Because David Haye was on board. David Haye is notoriously difficult in negotiations. He has the Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly Klitschko kind of way of negotiations. Okay, very, very difficult. Looked like that fight was going to fall apart, which for me was great, because then you can look at Dominic Breazeale. But ultimately, very, very good money fight. So when this fight looked like it wasn't going to happen, Dillian Whyte, Eddie Hearn, approached Luis Ortiz. Didn't offer him a contract or anything because they hadn't agreed anything. But they approached him, Luis Ortiz versus Dillian Whyte, headline O2 Arena, December 22nd. Pay-per-view. Big money. Okay, how much would he have got? No idea. Probably $500,000 to $1 million. Bearing in mind, Luis Ortiz only got paid $500,000, mind you. So what, about £350,000 to fight Deontay Wilder. Okay, but he would have got more than that to take on Dillian Whyte, that's for sure. But he didn't want to do that. I know he said on social media, yeah, but we know that behind closed doors, no, he wanted Dillian Whyte to come fight on the Wilder Fury undercard. So he didn't want headline, pay-per-view, huge money. He wanted small money on an undercard fight. So that's why that fight didn't happen. Ultimately, of course, as I said, Eddie Hearn really wanted the Derek Chisora fight. So, of course, a lot of people are saying, but Dillian Whyte needs to fight Luis Ortiz. And while, if you were to look at it from a neutral perspective, you can say, yeah, it's a good fight. It's an interesting fight. It's a fight that boxing fans would love to see that fight. I would love to see that fight. I would love to see Dillian Whyte take on Luis Ortiz. I would love to see him take on Big Baby Jarrell Miller. I would love to see him take on Kaunaki. I would love to see him take on these kind of opponents. Dominic Breazeale, if it wasn't for the mandatory, probably not. But, listen, it's a fight that Dillian Whyte wants and needs. Okay? So when it comes to Luis Ortiz, the reality of it is, it does nothing for Dillian Whyte's career. Dillian Whyte, as I said to you guys earlier in this video, he's going for the WBC. He wants to become WBC champion. He wants to get hold of Wilder. He's been wanting Wilder for a long time. Wilder's been sending him text messages. No, we're not going to fight you. We're going to freeze you out for 2 years. I mean, what kind of champion does that? Okay? And so Dillian needs to force that position. So him fighting Luis Ortiz isn't going to get him a shot with Deontay Wilder. It just isn't. But if Dominic Breazeale ends up fighting Wilder next, sure, why not? Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz, of course, fighting this weekend against Christian Hammer in a fight that I would fully expect him to grab hold of Christian Hammer and smooth him out. Within, 3 or 4 rounds, I fully expect that. So if Dillian Whyte's not going to be fighting until June kind of time, whenever it may be, Luis Ortiz, why not? Why not? But I'm pretty sure Luis Ortiz will come up with some kind of excuse. Okay? So, yeah, potentially that fight could happen if Dillian Whyte has nowhere else to go. Maybe a Tyson Fury fight, who knows? I don't think Tyson Fury wants Dillian Whyte right now either. If he's not willing to fight Wilder next, because he needs another fight to get back into the groove to prepare him for Wilder again, Dillian Whyte is not the one you need to go to. He needs to go to a lesser opponent. For me, Dillian Whyte gets hold of Wilder and spanks him around that ring and knocks him out early doors. For me, Wilder, and it's my honest opinion, it's not my Dillian Whyte fanboyism, it's my honest opinion, Dillian Whyte is the most improved heavyweight right now, and he will walk through Deontay Wilder. Walk through him. So, it's the wrong fight for Tyson Fury. But a fight that me, you, plenty of us would love. Especially if you want to put it on at, say, Old Trafford or something. That'd be awesome. But Luis Ortiz, ultimately, while it's a great fight and we would love to see it, it does nothing for Dillian Whyte's career. Ultimately, he's probably not going to get paid too much money for it as well. Compared to what you and me earn, yeah, of course, it's going to be massive money, right? But ultimately, it does nothing for his career. It doesn't get him closer to a world title shot. It just doesn't. And yeah, okay, so Wilder said, if he wants to fight me, then he needs to beat Luis Ortiz. I'm a man of my word. Wilder's not a man of his word. He never has been a man of his word. Dillian Whyte even said to Deontay Wilder, okay, fine, I will fight Luis Ortiz next. And I'll do one better. If I knock out Luis Ortiz, you fight me next. If I go the distance, you don't have to. I'm not going to hold you to it. These are Dillian Whyte's own words. Wilder refused it. Okay? So, ultimately, if this fight happens for Luis Ortiz, great. But ultimately, it does nothing for his career. It really doesn't. For me, there are other fights out there that would not only bring him more money, but are probably better fights, to be fair. More meaningful for him. Dominic Breazeale is the one. Hopefully he gets Dominic Breazeale. If not, listen, I'm not against him fighting Luis Ortiz, Alexander Povetkin, Alexander Usyk, whatever. I'm cool with it. All right? So anyway. And again, I know a lot of people say, but he had his chance of fighting AJ. As I said to you guys earlier, he wants to get hold of the WBC, then go fight AJ for undisputed. It's a very brave, bold move. May not work out. It's a risky one. Because he's got to do a minimum 2 fights to get AJ for undisputed. And his only way of doing that was to fight Dominic Breazeale next. But ultimately, who knows? Who knows? And if Dillian Whyte does fight Luis Ortiz and blast him out, that's going to scare Wilder off even more. Anyway, that's my opinion on it all. You drop me yours. Who is it that you would like to see Dillian Whyte fight next? Would you like to see him? If the Dominic Breazeale fight doesn't happen, of course, would Luis Ortiz be your first pick? Ultimately, it'll probably shut up a lot of the Wilder fanboys, for sure. It's an interesting fight. Be a good fight as well, stylistically. These two will slug it out. This will not be a technical fight. So yeah, it would be a good fight. Would you prefer him to see a rematch with Parker? Maybe a Tyson Fury? A Derek Chisora trilogy? Whatever it may be. Adam Kalnaki? Who knows? Andy Ruiz Jr.? Anyway, you drop your thoughts below about it all. Click the thumbs up to this video. And remember, go watch Dillian Whyte's latest video that I'm putting in the description box. Actually, have a read of the description box in there. There might be some things in there that's of some kind of interest to you. And anyway, go give Dillian Whyte's channel a follow, a subscription. Tell him I said hi. Catch you all on the next video. Subscribe.